if you don't want to become old or dead by the time you're 60 or 70, you don't want to miss this video. This is Doug Bates at Better Results Personal Training Milwaukee, also Ageless Personal Training, and also then OrganicVeganTrainer.com. And that one you can all argue about if you want to, but I'm turning 60 in a year, and I'm a lifetime drug-free athlete who doesn't look 60 and doesn't act 60. You can check that out. In fact, I just came back from an anti-aging conference, and the doctors there, many earning some people are worth $100 million there, many earning millions of dollars a year, cannot figure out how I did what I did, and on a budget. If you're a budget person and you haven't found how to de-age your body, you're talking to the guy who knows how to do that. Doesn't mean it's cheap. It means that it ain't going to cost you $100 million a year. And you know, the anti-aging experts are all making $100 million. They're worth $300 million. You can name online, and you'll see these guys. They're 47, 48, 50 years old. And I purposely waited before I called myself an anti-ager and went online to do this, because I wanted to wait until at least 55, 67, 58 before I did that, because how hard is that when you're only 50? I mean, come on. Anyhow, so let's take a look for a second. What am I talking about when I'm talking about how to not be dead or old when you're 60 or 70? Let's face it, most people's mental programming, emotional programming says they're going to be old by then. They start with that idea. They literally start with the idea that life expectancy is so much, and if they can beat that by a little bit, 5 or 10 years, they're really good. I know people that are literally walking around going, I hope I don't live my savings after I retire, because how will I live? Why have they lost their game? Why have they lost their strength, their endocrine system, their neurotransmitters, their mood chemicals, their spirit, their desire, their drive, their appetite? Why have they lost those things? Why didn't they stay young? If you're staying young and having a good time, you're creative, you're enjoying life, last thing you do is plan your funeral. So if they're out planning for a pine box at a certain age, that's programming in the mind and in the emotions. Look out for those. That means in the brain, hippocampal programming, all the emotions around the brain stem, in the medulla, the pons, the whole thing is telling you all the time, be afraid of aging, as opposed to be engaged, become hungry, become desirous, for learning how to become sustainable and vital and healthy, not just in exercise. So many people go, I'm going to run to the gym, I'm going to get in shape. If I exercise and get in shape, I'll stave off aging for a while. I'll be more fit. They're going to try and jump into the gym at age 50 or 45 and get back in shape, drop those pounds. Here's what happens. They come in, they try and drop the pounds, they undereat. Now they're compromising their immune system. Now they're compromising their mood chemicals and their neurotransmitters, what's available for that. Now they're compromising their connective tissue and collagen and all their DNA replication because they're not eating enough food. I talked to the fasters at the anti-aging conference. Again, a lot of money to go to this conference. 200 doctors there. They did not level up very much. Let's just say that. They're terrified of all the work, and they want to do biohacking to get the results versus real, difficult, intense investigation into what about their lifestyle is going to require change and how to get that action to take place. They're drinking alcohol and they're going, I shouldn't be doing this, but I can't help myself. Where'd their willpower go? Why didn't they develop their willpower? They don't know how to develop willpower. So they find a biohack to overcome their lack of willpower. That's a bad idea. That's pretty freaking weak. So what I do is I go back and I say, okay, you're going to come in here. I'm not interested in finding 100 people to run in my gym right now. I'm interested in finding even 5 people to walk in, even 1 person a month. I don't even need that because my clients stay with me for a long time because they're still learners. They're lifelong learners. I've had clients 10, 15, 20 years straight coming into here to learn how to become still more sustainable and learn new skills and become a better resource to themselves. I'm not their resource. They become their own resource. I'm a great tutor. I'm a great instrument for myself, and I can see easily in someone else what they're missing. When people walk in, I go, okay, it's like a white belt time. Someone might be a black belt in bench pressing or black belt in powerlifting, but they're a white belt in flexibility. They might be a black belt at running marathons, but a white belt at getting recovery and sleeping. They might be a black belt at running triathlons and Ironmans, but they have a white belt at understanding how the DNA is repairing itself and how to manage their cortisol properly, which is why they feel they have to run marathons in order to get a rise out of themselves, in order to gain some feeling of accomplishment. Why is there accomplishment at the bottom of a marathon, at the end of a marathon, at the bottom of whatever it is they're doing, I'll say the bottom would be the wrong. At the end of a bench press, would they bench press more? If the bench press more helps you, then you'd be younger for it, right? All you are stronger, that's not younger. I find ways to build the pectorals and the pectoralis in a way that balances the body so that it never dislocates the shoulder, leads to internal rotation. It never disaffects the cervical. I find ways to work legs and make my legs muscular and toned and powerful and quick without damaging my lower spine. So I always put the spine first and organs and glands first. Other people do not do that. I also put the brainstem ahead of almost everything, all the digestive tract and the vagus nerve, the all-important vagus nerve that people haven't even talked about for decades. I was talking about it back in the 1990s, along with mitochondria, along with microbiome, and it was being ignored. Finally, in 2013, people started talking about the vagus nerve. I'm like, wow. And then they started saying, wow, this is really amazing. Look at the tremendous progress we can make just by examining the vagus nerve. And they give you gargling exercise and hot and cold showers to solve it. Gargling, humming, and hot and cold showers is not the best way to tone the vagus nerve. It's not going to give you a great deal of vagal tone compared to actually building strength in the entire body. And if your vagal tone is increased, and you can get a good vagal tone, but any one of those tones is that vagus nerve, which is your 10th cranial nerve, which comes out of two sides of your brain. It's the only cranial brain that leaves the brain, goes all the way down, skipping the adrenals, but hitting the thyroid, hitting the swallowing, all the stuff for facial expressions, vocal tone, the thyroid, the thymus, the heart, the lungs, the intestines, the bowels, the kidneys, obviously the sex hormones. All these things are tied in the digestive tract, the pancreas, the spleen, liver, gallbladder. All these things are tied in except for the adrenals. So when you think about that, how amazing. You literally have to have tone in all those treasures for the vagus nerve to work fully. Otherwise, it's connected to a weak instrument somewhere downstream. If you connect to a weak instrument upstream, you get another problem. That means no fluoride. Look out for all your chemicals. Look out for too much, what? Not just fluoride, the chlorine in the water. If you're swimming in pools, look out. Taking chlorinated showers, look out. Getting exposed to chlorine drinking water, look out. All the bromine in all the baked products, in wheat products. In 1972, the government went to non-iodized flour, went to brominated flour. Everybody has thyroid problems. Everybody has thyroid problems. Haven't met almost anybody yet who doesn't. I have to take thyroid support because I know I live in a world that creates thyroid problems. And I know how to manage that. So this is the beginning of the conversation. This is not you learned everything. This is just giving you some insight to what you haven't examined. And when you come into this place, and again, I don't need to have people rushing in my gym. Most people can't hack it, I'll be honest. They come in with their white belt level stuff, and I'm patient. I'm patient because I know they're coming with white belt level stuff somewhere in their life. They might be a black belt at making money, but they're a white belt at getting in shape. Might be a black belt at movement, but a white belt at critical thinking. I have to be patient, but I'm also going to make a lot of challenges on that. It's not just like this all the time. Sometimes I'm going to invest all in the challenge for that day. Other days, all in the patience for that day. Ask my clients, read the reviews, listen to the reviews. They'll tell you, oh, it's a challenge, but man, is there a payoff for that? There's a payoff. And it means you don't become an old person ahead of time. And the only way to stop that is you take responsibility, personal responsibility for your own life. Find an expert in the areas you're not an expert in. I'm the guy who's taken on the whole enchilada. Way back in college, I got a master's degree in sociology. I was a 4-point student and discovered as much as I was great at sociology, that was still a program. I had to get outside of that with psychology, anthropology. I had to get way outside of that with economics, way outside of that. I was a great jock back then. I had to get away from the jock mentality. I had to get into a whole nother realm of understanding and comprehension for me to gain the insight to help my clients so I didn't keep replacing them every time I turned around because they couldn't hack it, because they couldn't make lifestyle changes. And they couldn't stop making the behavior that literally drove them into the ground where they're seeking a pine box. They literally would come in and goes, yeah, I hope I don't outlive my, they would hope they didn't outlive their savings after they retired because they thought, well, that's what happens, that'll be a bad day. Why wouldn't they go back and find the appetite, the drive, the desire, the spiritual comprehension, and the alertness and the desire and the joy to become sustainable in their career and find a career they love and that they have an avocation for, not just a vocation, an actual love of what they do for a living. and be able to provide a meaningful service that it fills their heart and their spirit at the same time it fills their pocketbook. And that they can live like that and discover that they aren't seeking a pine box at the age of 75 or 80 or whatever they said, oh, here's your life expectancy. That's a program in the head and the emotion. Just like most things are a program in the head and the emotion. They'll run into the gym and they'll bench press because it feels good. They'll run their Ironman because it feels good. They'll do their whatever because it feels good. And they'll think, this is my fitness program. But if that fitness program is harming them, it's my awareness that I can see things that they might not see, and I can remind them, here's what that's going to cost you. Here's what you don't have yet, to balance that out so it doesn't cause you problems. And that means you have to really understand that when you walk in the door here, the Better Results Personal Training, Ageless Personal Training, Organic Vegan Trainer, you're not going to get what you expect. I'm not going to demand fasting. I'm not going to demand that you do A, B, and C. I'm going to tell you what it will look like if you do and what it will look like if you don't. And you have to take responsibility for it, because I'm not here to run your life for you. I'm not here to give you a bingo card you check off and go, Doug gave me this bingo card to check off, and now I'm doing all these things. He says, I feel great. You have to discover if they work for you. You have to learn to listen to your own body. Learn to listen to your own emotional self, your spiritual self, and your intellectual self, and figure out how to bring that game forward. Because only then can you begin to say you're making progress. If all you're doing is throwing things at the wall, see if they stick, that's pretty haphazard. Because I've got 34 years in the business, and I've worked with people sometimes for, again, decades straight, including their children. I've had people, I went to high school, I've had their grandchildren walk in here and train them. That's how long I've been around. I don't look like I'm a grandfather, but I'm old enough to be one. And so what happens is, that means I'm here to kind of be the director to some degree, but I'd rather have you be the director. And I'm here to, not as the resource, again, you're the resource, but to be that tutor, if you would, that allows me as a concierge to point out where you can go next, what you might look at. And I'm a patient, quiet at times trainer who sits back and watches as you train, as you do an independent study kind of exercise program in my gym, which is begin at the time you're here. It's your gym to practice it. It's your gym to play in. And you might come in with your own routine that we've already talked about, and you figured out that works for you, and you start off and you go, hey, this isn't working today. Then it's how you might modify. You say, hey, this isn't working. What do you recommend? I have an idea. Or have you tried this? And has this happened to you? And that might be why that's not working today. Did you get your food in today? Did you get your sleep in today? Did you go somewhere and do something that might have thrown this all off? Did you spend too much time walking? What will you do after this? If you can do something after, like go to the lakefront and go for a long walk, don't overtrain your legs. All that stuff. So I'm going to hang up the phone call, because this could go on. I can make lots of videos, and I have a brand new vlog video page. You can go to Better Results Personal Training, again, betterresultspersonaltraining.com, and look at that. I'm going to have various vlogs, but maybe one a week. This will be the second vlog now. And you can examine whether that makes sense for you to take a look at that stuff and see if you have what it takes to bring your game forward. To be honest, 90% of people don't have it. That sounds mean. It's statistically way overstating the fact that far more than 90% people don't have it. So if you think you're in that top 10% or top 1%, something could be in your favor. But you're going to have to prove that to yourself and to me when you walk in the door. I'm not threatening. I'm very supportive. The biggest threat is you not doing anything. The biggest threat is you selling yourself short. I don't sell you short. I say you could be better. Even that 90% I wrote off just a second ago, they might wake up tomorrow and go, I don't want to be that 90%. That mental decision, that mental identification, they don't want to be dead at 80, that they don't want to be part of the 90% that goes downhill, is enough to start to turn the wheel in their favor, that they might begin to say, how do I get in the top 10%? Me, I want to be in the top 1%. I got there, I'm like, how to get in the top 1/10 of 1%? So when I was winning state bodybuilding championships, I didn't really worry about being the best guy on stage until I was one of the best guys on stage. Then I was the best guy on stage. Now what do I do with myself? I'm going to keep bodybuilding? Not necessarily. I think I can play with it. But how about how to sustain that body? That means I turn the wheel in my favor of, instead of me getting on stage trying to prove I'm the bodybuilder who wins the contest, I go, how to become the bodybuilder who never ages? How to become the bodybuilder that knows how to see other people getting stuck and show them where they're stuck if they ask. But you have to ask. You have to be willing to take feedback. If you can't ask and take feedback and come with some level of appetite and humility both, I can't help you. So again, it's up to you to turn that wheel after I said that to say, I want him to help me. If you don't have it, that's okay. Go get it. If you don't have it, it's okay. You can recycle yourself. Many people recycle themselves, but that's what they do. I don't intend to recycle myself because I got it pretty good. My brain works, my body works, I'm a happy person, I got a good place to live. I intend to be here for quite some time. And if that's your attitude, you probably found the right place. Again, Better Results Personal Training, Doug Bates, also Ageless Personal Training. Website's on the way, pretty slow. Another one, Organic Vegan Trainer. Website's on the way, also pretty slow. So you got to come to Better Results Personal Training for the meantime until those other websites are up. They're just going to be place to go. And then when you get in the door or you come on Zoom calls live, then we can make conversation to see where you're at specifically and where you can go next. If it's emotion, if it's mood, if it's neurotransmitter, if it's lifestyle, if it's appetite, if it's desire, if it's calming down, if it's getting rid of cortisol, what is it? We have no idea. It might not even be exercise. It might be you have enough exercise already. It might be overdoing it. So that's the answer, is to find out where to go next. That's what's going to balance you out and bring you results. So thanks for listening. This has been Doug Bates, Better Results Personal Training. Again, it's probably the day after Mother's Day. Hey, it's May 13th, 2024. Have a good one. Bye-bye now.